Hi, everybody. How we all doing? Welcome to this wonderful evening of Joe's Computer Museum highlights and things from our wonderful vendor doodles. I want to take a moment to say thank you to all the people who are going to be watching tonight, everybody who's watching live during the stream or coming back later to catch up on the news that's in the store. I appreciate every single one of you. To all my fans, you guys are great. To everybody who hates me, you guys are great too. You just keep doing you, okay? Hit like and subscribe and all of that stuff if you want to do that. So, tonight we're going to be talking about all these wonderful people that you see in front of me and a few people who weren't able to make it tonight that are my awesome vendors, the folks who sell stuff on jcm-1.com, who make my store possible. And we're going to ask them about what's going on in their cool worlds and ask them for updates of anything neat that they might have released recently on the site or might be releasing soon or whatnot. So let's go ahead and I'm going to introduce everybody we have here tonight, and then we'll just run through. First, we have Frodo Jedi, obviously. Sloopy Malibu is one of my wonderful builders of products. He actually uses his assembly capabilities so that I can not have to physically make things, I guess. He's my laziness cure.
Just call me Bob, the builder.
Bob the Builder, yes. We have Michael, One Big Bit Fever Dreams, who just released a cool video. We'll talk about that in a minute. And we have Eric of the Blue Scuzzy fame, of course. Ron's computer videos. You don't need, he needs no introduction. So we're just going to move on from that. And we have Tech Ambrosia here. Some of those wonderful 3D printed things. We also have several people who can be here tonight, or who just didn't want to for whatever reason or another. Some folks are camera shy. We've got Rudy's Retro Intel we're going to be talking about. We have Ian Scott of Pico Gus fame, of course. We have Gut Bomb, who couldn't make it tonight because of a scheduling conflict. And we have several other vendors as well that aren't even really listed on my website, but are very important, which we will come back around and give them some thanks at the end. So we're going to start with Sloopy, who is apparently hanging out with Bigfoot and Frodo Jedi, and talk about some of the cool things that they have going on right now. How you guys doing? We haven't heard
I am doing well
from you in a while, Mr. Frank. What's been going on in your world, man?
It has been a very busy year, so I'm excited that I was able to chat a little bit with you all. It's good to see everyone.
Yes, we are super happy to have you. You didn't know these wonderful folks make some of these products right here. Particularly, Frank has spearheaded the building, the design and building of FujiNet specifics for the Apple II, and then doing the Atari 8-bit, and basically doing all the logistics in the background to make that happen, so that I can get those on the site. And then Sloopy, of course, puts them together. So that's really cool. You guys are also doing the Raminators from who designed the Raminator? I don't remember. Sloopy, who was that did the Raminator? No.
Did Sloopy freeze? Kind of looks like Sloopy's frozen.
Anyway, so the Raminator is designed by someone I don't know.
Doug Brown, I believe.
Was it Doug Brown?
It was the original, yeah.
Okay. And we have his blessing to do those. Sloopy has done some slight modifications to the design, and we have those for the 128 and the 512. Let's run through these and say what they are. So the FujiNet is a really cool product that allows you to, I don't know how you put it. It's a multi-purpose networking tool for 8-bit computers. FujiNet itself has the ability to connect to multiple computers over the internet of different kinds. So you could have an Apple II and an Atari and an Amiga and all these other things connected together. on the same network and play games against each other and communicate. It has network sharing, file sharing, and disk sharing capabilities, and also local disk storage capabilities. So footage that's really cool on that factor. And then the Raminator, Sloopy, why don't you talk about the Raminator a little bit? Because I know that it's there and that people like it, but I don't remember all of the specific details about it.
The two main things that it does is it allows you to use an HD20 device on your 128 and 512, but it also has a built-in ROM and allows you to edit the ROMs for various cool hacks and such.
Okay, cool.
It also will start up a lot faster, especially if you have like a full 4 megs of RAM in your Plus.
Mm-hmm. So it's got a faster mem check on it.
Yeah, sure, we'll go with that.
Sure, great, awesome, cool beans.
And you get to say cool things like, "I've got a Raminator in my Mac Plus."
So get one yesterday. So yeah, those are really cool. And it's my understanding that Mr. Frodo is working on a couple other items.
Yeah, so we have another FujiNet that we have, and I had hoped to have finished up a few months back, actually, but I ran into some hiccups during the build process, and I actually sent them to Sloopy to test and figure out what I messed up, because I built a bunch of Coco FujiNets for the Coco 1, 2, and 3. Yep, for the Tandy color computer. And I ended up causing an issue with my test machine that I wasn't able to remedy. So
Oh, no.
Sloopy's doing some testing on those and checking those out so that we can get those finished up and listed as well. We do have additional Apple II FujiNets that are coming. Sloopy has a batch of Atari FujiNets that he's working on as well. So those should be coming here shortly as well. There are other versions once we get this finished up. There are other versions of FujiNet that we will be doing. There's a version for RS-232. There is an Atari 2600 version that was finished as well. So we'd like to get those built and put on the site as soon as we can get those produced as well.
Awesome sauce. That's great. And stand by, I'm just writing a real quick note to myself. There we go. And was there another cool, let's say, power project you were working on?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So I've been working with Gutbomb on producing a product called the Power Pig. So that's another one we had hoped to have finished up. Everything's done. We just have to actually physically put them together now.
Cool.
But the Power Pig does a variety of different things. It has multiple ends. So what we did was we did a modulify so that you're able to use it for like a Commodore 64, Commodore 128, an Amiga 500, 1200, 600, VIC-20. So essentially you're able to use one bench power supply that's in a brick format, like it's a rectangle. And it's in a brick format, but it allows you to utilize different power connectors or cables, so you can, like different dongles.
So you can basically have a universal service supply for about any of those machines that you want. Gotcha.
Yeah, it does both 9-volt AC voltage for certain machines, as well as both 5 and 12-volt DC voltages. So you're able to switch out the modular power connector on it and power up whatever types of machines you'd like with one power supply instead of having multiple ones on your bench or taking up space.
Oh, it'll also work on the Ataris?
Yes, that's right. The Ataris as well. We tested it with that as well. So like I said, that we've already done the design. We finalized the case. We've already printed a bunch of the cases. And it's just a matter of putting them together and shipping them out so that we can get them put on the site.
Awesome sauce. That is great. I love to hear that. Thoughts on when you'll have those ready for people who are kind of chomping at the bit for a universal supply like that?
Well, for the universal power supplies, hopefully by the end of, I'm hoping by maybe middle of or the end of January. We're already pretty much almost halfway through December already. It's the 10th, so we're getting close to the middle of December. So I just got to get them put together and then finalize testing, and then we'll go ahead and mail them out so that we can get them listed as soon as possible. But like I said, they work for about almost a dozen machines in total.
Cool.
And we'll continue to modify and redesign it as we go to add additional capabilities such as Molex plugs down the road and other things. Because the power supply we base this on is an industrial grade power supply. It's not like a Pico ITX or anything, so it does
So it's got-
a lot of. It's got a lot
Got
of
extra
horsepower.
wattage behind it.
Exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
without taking up a huge amount of space.
Cool.
Yep.
I love it. That sounds awesome. Oh my gosh, Sloopy's back. He's so high definition. Whatever will we do?
Cringe and horror.
Ah! Welcome back. Cool.
So there are also on our page on jcm-1.com. There are also DB19 connectors. They're actual professional grade ones. They're not like 3D printed or anything like that. These are actually machined DB19 connectors. So what we ended up doing with a lot of our projects was we had if you want to show me for a second, we had this original design for our DB19 to IDC20 connector. And the problem we had with 3D printing was that little hood ends up breaking off fairly easily if you tweak it or put any type of pressure on it when you're unplugging or plugging. So what we did was we redesigned the circuit board on them, and we made it so that it slides over the edge of the PCB so that it could be soldered on front and back, so you have a really good solid connection. So all of the ones that are, I feel like all the ones that you have now at this point for the Apple FujiNet, or the Apple FujiNets, have this newer designed metal connector. So that way it's a real solid connection. You don't have to worry about it breaking or falling apart while you're trying to plug or unplug. And those are for the Apple II FujiNets that use the IDC20 connector. And then we have the Atari FujiNets, and we did this design specifically so that you're able to plug it into your Atari and still have a pass-through port. There are other designs of the Atari FujiNet that have, but we didn't want to add extra stuff where you have the dongle and the cable and you don't have any type of pass-through. This is another one that other people sell, and our design is compact and allows you to plug it directly into the Atari and still have a pass-through SIO port without taking up space. So we have those, and then you had mentioned the Raminators. Those are on there. We have the Power Pig coming soon. We have the Coco FujiNet that should be out here shortly after we finish those up. And then we also, I'm working on getting a few different Atari ROM chips. I've got some stuff I ordered for those, so that we have replacement ROMs and we're able to burn an image. You're able to burn an image to the ROM flash chips. Cool. So that's in the works as well.
That sounds awesome. Ah! What happened? I clicked the wrong button. See, this is why Ron needs to run things. Anyway, that is super awesome, Frank. Great updates all around. And yeah, the cables too. Yeah, when we ship those out, we ship those with the cable.
Yeah.
Ignore this picture on the website. I haven't updated it yet because I'm a bad doobie. The new design uses the metal shell like
yes.
Frank talking about. So.
And my wife actually comes out here to the shed and makes the IDC20 cables for me.
See, so they're made with serious high levels of content.
That's right.
Understood.
She comes out, she measures and cuts every one of them and puts them together and tests them. Yep.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
It's a team effort
Cool beans.
all the way around. Because as you mentioned, Sloopy does a lot of our building, same as like he does for you. He does a lot of our building. Gut Bomb, who wasn't able to make it tonight, he does a lot of the building as well. So without these guys, it wouldn't be possible. A lot of us don't have time to do the nitty gritty and putting all the components on the boards and testing everything out. But those two
Right.
really do a lot of that grunt work for all of us for a lot of the projects that we do. So a big thank
Absolutely.
you to
Lots
those
of love
guys.
to you guys. You're great.
Absolutely.
You make the magic happen, and
That's right.
Gosh.
Anyway, cool. That is super awesome. I think this is a good point to say thank you very much on that, and then mention Gutbomb next, since he can't be here actually in the stream because he's babysitting or something in the background. It's a weird situation going on there, but that's fine. He wanted to mention, of course, his products. He has several. Let me bring up the screen-a-doodle so you can see that. Click the button. And so here's Gutbomb's products. Gutbomb has done a lot of really cool things. His piece de la resistance, or however that's pronounced, of course, is the CatMac mini case, the 3D printed case that I print on that gigantic 3D printer that I have. That basically allows you to build the catalog Macs. Gutbomb did the design in collaboration with Ron, of course, and this is kind of one of Ron's like, wouldn't it be cool if we can do that? And Gutbomb's like, I got you, fam. So he designed this super awesome case, and he has two different designs, both for the SE and for the Mac Plus. So the Mac Plus has the, it's got the slightly different design for the Mac Plus keyboard and stuff on that. So that's cool. And then he also designed the little adapters here for the CatMac. The first one being the Keyboard Buddy, which allows you to actually bring that keyboard port out to the front of the CatMac mini case. And then the power switch, which goes in the back of the CatMac mini and runs to a Pico PSU or similar thing, so you can turn your unit on from the back and don't have to have a plug. You don't have to like use the plug to turn it on and off. So that's really cool. One thing I wanted to show that is really tip of the top of his designs is Blocko. Blocko is the fully compatible replacement card that allows you to use those Technics brick system interfaces with Logo on your Apple II computer. This is a electrically compatible clone of the original card. And the reason why this was done is because you can go on eBay and find like the motors and find the control breakout boards and stuff for forever. But the cards are always missing. And the reason the card is missing is because they're always inside of the Apple, and the Apple gets separated from the rest of the stuff. And then somebody and they're like, I don't know what this card is. And it disappears into their stack somewhere. So instead of going on and like paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars on eBay for a card, $70, and you've got the card and you can get all your system back up and working. Earlier in the year, he demoed this working. It might have been late last year. I don't remember exactly, but he actually did a demo of this working on his channel, and it was super awesome. There is one little thing, though, he wanted me to tell everybody, is that he and Cass Stark, one of our wonderful friends over in our Macintosh community, they are designing an updated interface board that'll work with Blocko. So you can get the interface box too, but this interface box is special. It will not only work with the old school motors and systems, it will work with the newer Lego motors and systems. So if you've got like Mindstorms and XT and all of that stuff, they're working to design that to be electrically compatible, so you can run newer stuff on with your old Apple II. And that is super, super awesome. I could see something like that being used in a STEM class and be like, hey, here's your robotics, but we're also going to teach you how we used to do it so you can get way closer to the metal. I think that would be really cool. So that's what Gutbomb is working on right now with Cass. I also want to take another moment again to thank Gutbomb for his services over the past year. He does a lot of my assembly services, Blue Scuzzies primarily, but also A2 Picos and A2C DVIs and lots of other stuff like that, along with Sloopy. I do not have time to physically manufacture. Hold on. What do you, Ryan? Stop spamming chat. Anyway, so I don't have the time to physically manufacture things, and many of the things that we manufacture, because it's through hole, is prohibitively expensive to have it done in the same factory where the surface mount stuff is done. They just charge a lot for that. I can instead pay my friends to do it, pay them a really good rate per unit, but still save money on doing it, but then having the work stay here local. So I'm helping my friends. My friends are helping me. And Gutbaum has been really, really big on that. He's also helped me with a lot of 3D case designs for some products I'm going to be showing here in a little bit as well. So super shout out to him, and thank you very much for all your help, sir. Next, I think we should talk to my wonderful friend, Ron of Ron's
hi.
Computer, who has lots of cool things in the store. So let's go ahead and queue you up. Ron, what's going on in your world, sir?
Oh my gosh. This bursitis and my lumbago and my flat feet and things are going really well. And again, I just wanted to take a moment and say thank you to everybody, and I wish everybody continued success. It is kind of cool, this little community that we've built here of people that just had neat ideas, or folks that were like, I just want to get this thing out there, but I don't want to deal with like the shipping part of it. I don't want to deal with the return if I've got to do something like that. I don't want to deal with all the payment stuff or anything like that. So a very long time ago, I reached out to Joe and I was like, Joe, I got an idea for a couple of things. I want to sell them. Can we just put them in your store and we'll just work out like a little commission or something? And he was like, yeah, let's do that. So if you are someone who is like somebody that's got a thing, but you're like, I just don't know how to set up a storefront, I don't want to deal with all the shipping and all those other things, reach out to Joe. He can probably work something out with you. But what I would say is this year has been a fun year of cranking out a couple of new products and updating a couple of older products. Of course, don't forget about the Pico Micromac, which is kind of a fun thing. It's a Macintosh 128 emulator. You can load disk images and stuff, hooks up to a VGA monitor, plug in a USB keyboard and mouse, and it's a fun way to kind of experience that world of machines. I'm sure everybody knows about everything else that I make, like the SE Topper, which if you have a like an SE board, something you want to put on a desk for troubleshooting or whatever, you can basically just pop this on top of a Macintosh SE or an SE30, attach an ATX power supply or a Pico ATX or whatever you like, and basically you've got a test bench to be able to do what you want with VGA output, which is kind of nice. You can do a little thing, or like with the Cat Mac Mini or with the whatever, you can there's also versions for that, so that way that you can do a modern power supply replacement and a video output option. Many thanks to Guthrie for making his cool project and opening it up where people could do all kinds of neat stuff with it. But not just Macintosh things, I've also got some neat stuff for the Apple II. Something that I wanted back in the day was the ability to basically plug in a ton of joysticks all at once and then just select the ones I want. And a lot of those auto switcher options were just cost prohibitive for me as a young guy. But that is what inspired me to make this joystick switcher. It's a multi-adapter for the Apple II. Basically, you can just plug in your DE9 style joysticks or your DIP 16 style joysticks, flip a couple of dips, and do whatever you want to do. Or custom roll your own joystick, where you can basically say, hey, I like how the paddle works on this, but I want these buttons. You can basically mix and match a bunch of different joysticks using this adapter. And this is in the store too. I've got other things in my box, but a lot of these things these are well-worn favorites. Of course, the adapter for the Pico Micromac, or I'm sorry, the Mac PicoVid, so that way that you can attach this or use it with a Macintosh Plus or a 128. There was a couple of different board revisions, but we settled on this one because it services the most stuff. And there's a Mac Classic version that'll be available soon. One last thing I'll show you, and then we can move on to more interesting people. This should be in the shop after the first of the year. This is a power supply replacement for the Macintosh LC, the LC2, the LC3, the Quadra 605, and all of the other Performa equivalents. Basically, this is a complete power supply replacement for the LC. Thank you to Gutbaum for designing the case, or I'm sorry, the sled that it will use. But basically what this will do is replace the power supply with the +5, the -12, the +12, +5. And you have the option, if you have a dead power supply, you can just simply clip out your old connection. There are two options. There's a solder connection if you're a little more handy. There's also a screw terminal. So basically you just cut it to size, tighten it down, you're ready to go. There will also be a option that you can purchase that basically is just a modern replacement for that. So if you don't want to take apart your old power supply, you want to keep it intact for whatever reason, you'll have options to do so. But this is probably the next big thing that'll be in the store. We're also working on some AppleTalk, Apple or PhoneNet adapter replacements, modern replacements for PhoneNet. There's a couple of other projects that I've been working on that are kind of Macintosh SE and Classic related. There'll be an adapter for the Classic for Mac PicoVid, or for Mac PicoVid stuff in the new year as well.
Cool.
But again, thank you so much to Joe for putting this all together and building this cool little community of people where we can all make fun things and help support our friends and keep them on the road. Thanks.
Yes. Thank you, Ron, for being such a great friend, a great video vendor. Brain.
It's okay.
I just need to go take a nap. Anyway, it's fine. So thank you for being super awesome.
I try.
And Gutbaum wanted to ask, hey, to piggyback on Ron's thing, a classic version of the Cat Mac Mini is coming soon too, with the classic adapter for the power daily. So yes, awesome stuff coming down the road.
And don't forget, like with the version for the Plus, it also does work with the 128 and the 512. So if you have one of those older machines or something, you got a dead analog board, you've got a damaged case. I see that happen occasionally on Facebook where someone will get one of those in and it's been crushed just because of poor shipping and packing stuff. You don't have to throw away that machine. It's not a waste. You can get one of these inexpensive cases, a video adapter, and that machine can still live. And it looks really nice on your desk. If you're a streamer and you don't want to have like a big Mac sitting around all the time, it's an option for you. Just, put it into your streaming setup.
It is super, super awesome. And to add, what really makes these Cat Mac cases great is all of the companion stuff that Ron has designed to make it possible. So it's not just the case, it's all of Ron's little bits and pieces. These adapters he's talking about are what makes that happen. The Pico PSU kit, the power adapters, the video adapters, the replacement J12 cable, all of the different breakouts and stuff really are what make that awesome. He's also has a lot of other cool designs. For example, the remote battery. So, to help you avoid those battery explosion events, he designed and came up with this idea for these little bumper feet, the replacement prototype Mac bumper feet that when the 128 was released, or when they were designing it, the bumper feet had little apples embossed in them. But they didn't do that because these were insanely expensive to make. Now we have these things called additive manufacturing, where we tell a robot to, hey, can you just spit out like plastic in a design and make things? So we do that now. And then, of course, he was the person who came up with the polka dot idea. And so
listen, I didn't come up with the polka dot idea. I came up with the idea to mock the polka dot idea.
Yes. For some reason, the categorization is not correct for one of them, but we do finally now have in the store a polka dot shower curtain. So we are 100% accurate in taking the piss.
We are in compliance.
So yes, we are 100% in compliance. So super, super awesome stuff. So check out Ron's things. One of my favorite things, really honestly, is the Pico PSU kit. Ron and I worked together to find a reliable vendor on these that has them so that we can actually like be cost effective and competitive too. So unless you buy the absolute cheapest knockoff parts from like eBay or AliExpress, our price for the Pico PSU with the power brick is actually competitive with like Amazon and stuff. So good stuff.
Because again, and I think people, they think about the Pico PSU and it being like, oh, it's an inexpensive kind of thing, right? But you've also got to put a power brick with it and all that type of stuff, and
it's got to be
cheap power bricks. Typically mean a really underpowered Pico PSU. So
exactly. And so we made sure that it has the right voltage and amperage ratings, because you can plug any old 12 volt adapter in there, but if it's a little 1 amp 12 volt adapter, you're going to find that like nothing works and you don't know why and blah 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 blah. Well, we've kind of done that work for you. So cool stuff.
We're trying to make this as turnkey as possible for folks so that you can just get to the fun part.
Yes, absolutely. Cool. So I would like to hear next from our friend Eric of Blue Scuzzy fame. How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Yeah.
What's new in Blue Scuzzy land?
Well, we've been kind of quiet because we've been working on lots of stuff. So I'll go over a few things, but you should follow Joe and Blue Scuzzy on social media if you want to learn some more things in the future. So I've been working with Ian. Well, Ian's been working on the Pico IDE, but when he was doing that, he was building this control board. So what this is it sits in your Pico IDE or Blue Scuzzy, and it's a control board for your Blue Scuzzy. So it'll have a menu and allow you to, eject CD images and do management of your Blue Scuzzy and set up some things. It also has an ESP32 on it, so that controls it. So that means we can have a web server on there as well. And Ian's been doing a lot of work on getting that ready, and it'll allow you to do things like manage things on your phone, so through a website or on your computer, kind of like a Raw Scuzzy or Pi Scuzzy, the web interface there. So you'll be able to do some things. You'll be able to actually upload some small files and do some stuff like that. So this will work on any existing Blue Scuzzy with I2C, which is any one after like the very first initial one, and Pico ID. So
I think it's the version 10 2023 is the version where the new design came out.
Yes, and I think I2C.
1020.
Yeah, we'll have details in our documentation about it, and you can actually, if you're handy, you could solder in and make it work on the oldest ones as well. So that's kind of cool. So thanks again for working on this and letting us be kind of a part of that. It's something we wanted to do for a while. And I actually did start doing this a while ago, but with another Pico, but it just didn't work out. So I'm glad he kind of took the ball and ran with that.
Yes.
So, yes, some software stuff too we've been working on. And so I've been working on a lot of Blue Scuzzy Toolbox stuff. And if you don't know what Blue Scuzzy Toolbox is, it's a set of applications that allow you that run on your vintage computer and allow you to interact with, say, change CD images, upload and download files, and do other things like that. Switch Wi-Fi networks, etc. So I just put out a beta of the 1.1 of the Blue Scuzzy Toolbox for Macintosh. And what that added was kind of just some better error handling. It'll now automatically decode bin and HQX files. So when you download it, it'll just one less step to do. And with that, I also added in the fix a fork code into Blue Scuzzy. So what that will do is it'll inspect the file or the file extension and then automatically set the file type and creator for you. So you will have new users will have less trouble opening files that they transfer through the Blue Scuzzy Toolbox.
That is awesome.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I mean, Blue Scuzzy Toolbox is really, I wrote it 3+ years ago, the API, when I'm much smarter now than I was 3 years ago. But it's kind of just taken off with people implementing it. We have 9 different platforms, with some platforms having multiple Blue Scuzzy Toolbox implementations. DOS, Amiga, Atari, Linux, old Unixes, Macintosh, and et cetera, et cetera. But one of the cool things that just happened was someone made a DOS driver for Dynaport, so you can use a BlueSCSI on a DOS machine to actually get online with Wi-Fi on BlueSCSI. That's pretty cool.
Awesome.
And what emulators actually have been doing, so there's new emulators like Snow and Dingus PowerPC that I've actually implemented BlueSCSI Toolbox in them. So if you're familiar with like VMac Mini, with the import file and an export file, it's you can just use a BlueSCSI Toolbox just in an emulator to transfer files in and out of your emulator as well. So that it's already in Snow. It'll be in Dingus PowerPC soon, and it'll maybe actually be in Infinite Mac soon. I've been talking to the maintainer of that, and he's been helping me with that as well. So yeah,
that's cool. So you can basically use the BlueSCSI Toolbox as an addition to the emulators, and the emulators kind of say, hey, I'm sort of a BlueSCSI, so you can get the same functionalities on the emulator. That's great.
Yep. So it just kind of, BlueSCSI Toolbox is just expanding wider than I'd ever imagined. So it's kind of the API for anything SCSI on the retro scene for Macintosh right now. So
cool.
Yeah, pretty proud of that.
I love it. I love it.
Yep.
Thank you, Eric, for being awesome and being such a great supporter of our community.
Yeah, and thank you, Joe, for assembling and shipping out BlueSCSI so I don't have to.
And thank you to everybody else down the chain who actually physically puts them together so I can put them on the website. See, we're all one big family. So speaking of all the different BlueSCSI options, and in case for the two of you who've been living under a rock and don't know what a BlueSCSI is, it is a fully solid state replacement for mechanical SCSI hard drives in vintage computers. It started as a project for Macs, but now it's a project for just about anything that has SCSI. It works on, I would say, probably 99% of things out there. And if you buy one and you're one of those 1% that doesn't work, we want to hear from you so that we can make it better and fix it. So we have a wide support community. Usually when somebody will send us some sort of issue with the device, we can have it fixed PDQ, mainly because of Eric's super wonderful low-level logging capabilities in the debug mode. He can be like, yep, it's doing this, it should be doing this, this timing's wrong, we can switch this, here's a special mode, put this in the INI, hey, it works now. So it's really cool. BlueSCSI comes with by default 4 different designs. You've got the 50-pin desktop for the internal machines, 25-pin external for the what you call the Mac style 25-pin external connector. We've got BlueSCSI V2 for PowerBooks, which is for those specific PowerBooks with the 44-pin or 40-pin internal SCSI connector. And then we also have the Centronics 50-pin, which kind of the connector is like the connector of those big chunky external hard drives. So all 4 of those options. And also I have a lot of other cool things to go along with your BlueSCSI to make it work better in your classic machines. Clipper Plus is one of my favorites. It's a little design that clips over the serial chip of your Mac Plus, which allows you to install a BlueSCSI internally in the Mac Plus. So you don't have to have your BlueSCSI hanging off the back. And our friend Androda has designed the portable adapter. So if you've got an older Mac portable before the PowerBooks and all of that stuff, if you got one of those, this little adapter allows you to put a BlueSCSI inside your portable too. So cool stuff. And then plates and adapters to help you mount your BlueSCSI in Mac SEs in the front and the back, inside the Mac Plus, and in the LC series, and then LEDs and other various sundries. So
yeah.
very,
and I just want
very cool stuff.
I want to say too that Androda, it's I'm kind of the face of BlueSCSI sometimes, but Androda does all the hardware and does a lot of work on that. I mean, you saw you and other people contributed the logo, the mouse pads that Zodium had some awesome artwork for, and just the community updating the docs, and it's just thousands of people now with BlueSCSI helping out in many different ways. It's just awesome.
Yes, BlueSCSI is best SCSI. Joe has declared it to be so, and therefore it is. Awesome sauce. I do want to take a second now to thank you, Eric, for all your awesome work, and thank you for letting me be part of the Blue Scuzzy development. It has been it's been a game changer for me and for the community, so I want to thank you. I want to now move on to our wonderful friend Androda, who does all of the hardware designs for Blue Scuzzy. But Androda also does a lot of other cool stuff and has been doing stuff for Classic Macs, particularly in the portable Macs and Newtons and eMates and stuff like that for billions of years. Probably only about 10, but for a long time. And he's been wanting to get more back into design and less into actual production. So I've taken on a lot of the products from his store, and several of them here. Of course, he's got, the cables for your portable backlit and upgrades, eMate flex cables, the passive matrix back cable. Of course, we talked about the Blue Scuzzy portable adapter, but he also has the Macintosh portable hybrid module to keep that because the Mac portable is so funky with its power regulation. It's got this contraption of magic that he reverse engineered and has designed a replacement for, because those like to explode, and that's bad. They hit Hopper
Joe.
ADB that he does. Yeah.
Hey, Joe. Sorry. I just wanted to say that you cannot understate the importance of the replacement little whatever module for the portable
hybrid module,
because the hybrid module, because the original board, it's a ceramic PCB. This is such a fragile little thing, and they all fail. Like on a long enough timeline, they all failed. So if you had an original non-backlit portable and this was bad, basically your machine was dead. I mean, there were so many of these machines that were just sitting in closets because you couldn't do anything with them. But the development of this hybrid module completely changed that. You can pull them out, you can fix them, you can do all kinds of fun stuff. So that's, sorry, I just had to brag on this because, well, this is the original, the hybrid module. You can see the picture, the modern replacement. You can see it in Joe's store, but this was such a great thing. That and the battery replacement kits and all that type of stuff for the portable. It's it really has like saved those machines.
Yes. Yeah, the battery replacement kit here, the battery eliminator, allows you to not have a battery in the portable. It uses super caps to power that battery side of the circuit to keep the machine running, so you can power it just off your power brick. So rolling back the VGA adapter.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine. And then I did want to mention a really cool thing that Androda helped me revise the design for, and that's the Woot switch. The Woot switch, it allows you to connect one keyboard and mouse to up to 4 Macs simultaneously. Super cool. This is based on the Hoot switch by Sabre. Sabre's design is really awesome, but it was kind of in beta, if you want to call it that. So I took that and gave it to Androda. I'm like, Androda, I would like this and this and this. Primarily external power to work, the ability to plug in multiple power adapters at the same time and not have them short each other out. Those were the main things. And then he also went through and did several design revisions, just little things with changing some of the components that were like way over-spec'd. For the functionality to get the price down. So now we're able to have those guys either in a kit or a built form to where for, almost, I mean, like the bomb, if you're going to buy an original Hoot switch by yourself, is like $38. So we're able to get the price down on those, so you can buy your kit from me for cheaper than the bomb of buying a Hoot switch part yourself. So it's super cool. And yeah, and then of course he had a whole bunch of stock of Ethernet transceivers, and he's like, Joe, do you want these? I'm like, sure, yeah, why not? So very, very cool stuff there. Thank you, Androda, again for being super cool with helping with Blue Scuzzy designs, helping me with my designs, and a couple other designs he is helping me with that I can't tell you about because they're going to be earth shattering for the Apple II community. I'll just put it that way. Ha ha! Anyway, next, let's move on to our friend Michael, One Bit Fever Dreams, who will talk a little bit about some of the cool things that he has going on. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, thanks. Apparently it's December right now,
Yes.
and I've something that I put together last year. Like I wasn't sure it would find a good home in your store because it's so Apple and Macintosh centric, but now that the Pico IDE is coming, that's not so true anymore. So
Yes.
like DOS people really like their games. That's what it's known for. And before long, you're playing with joysticks and you're finding a need to get some MIDI music out with your MIDI modules that you find on the used market. And it doesn't take long until you find out that you might need something like this that I designed. This is the PC GamePort Party, and it lets you use all the connectors, all the pins in the DB25 connector in your GamePort. And most people have like Sound Blaster 16s or Sound Blaster Pro at the very least, or clones, later clones. And they can use every functionality that was like available back in the day. So basically you can plug in two joysticks, and like many people learn that yes, you can have two players using either gamepads or joysticks at the same time. They would share the buttons and the axes together, or you could have one mega joystick with a lot of like rudders and throttles and lots of control all in one controller. But there's also those MIDI ports. There's a pin for MIDI out if you want to send out signals to a synthesizer that would take in like those signals, like a Roland MT32, which was unobtainium at the time because it was so expensive. So a lot of games take advantage of that. If you're looking at the late 80s era, you're looking at a lot of games like from LucasArts or Sierra that use the MT32. So you would basically either pay a lot of money to get a specialized card, which dealt with the MPU 401 port, and most people couldn't afford it. Kids couldn't afford it. So the other cheap option was to use your Sound Blaster 16 and just use a dummy serial mode for that MIDI out signal. So basically you get all of this in this little, like it's a breakout board, really. It's a kind of a adapter board. And basically you connect a cable here to your game port on your PC, and you can connect your MIDI out and as well as MIDI in. So a lot of solutions out there, you can find them separate on eBay. And you can buy a lot of cables and have fun swapping in and out all of your solutions. And maybe the cables are like breaking apart, but this is a modern revision that gets you everything without a compromise. And a lot of solutions don't carry the MIDI in. So if you want to try out some composition software from back in the day, you can plug in a MIDI controller, a keyboard, and play some music in Cakewalk. In MS-DOS, which is really fun and really an ancient way and quaint way of doing music. But you can think larger and like think about the software for Windows 3.1 or even Windows 95 or 98 as well, since those sound cards made it their way all the way to the late 90s. So you can still mix a lot of eras of PC hardware with this. So, and the other thing is that while I was making this, I found out there's a competitor, which I will not name, which had a kind of similar product, but mine is doing one thing that it isn't, and it's this switch right there, which lets you toggle between one player, which gets every axes and buttons for the Joy 1 here, right there. And if you switch to two-player mode here, you'll have like the functionalities divided up between the two joysticks here. So that's important because if you don't have that kind of switch, you could have like two joysticks plugged in and the player 1 would control everything, including the stuff that's normally controlled by player 2. So you could have a player like messing up the controls of the other player playing a local multiplayer game while they're playing. So you have to switch to player 2 to really divide the signals up, which I found was a unique thing that I had as well. And the other product was kind of no-brainer, and which was immediately useful to my own needs, is this MIDI switcher selector thing. So there's one side where you would plug in your sources of MIDI controllers, including your PCs, your Macs, or Atari ST, and anything that sends out MIDI signals. You can have 2 options here in this little 2x2 version, and here you would have your MIDI out. So basically there's one connection that's being established with the switches. So if I bring both switches up, it's coming from this side and going out this side, and without having to swap cables, you can like have other like destinations in this MIDI switch. So this 2x2 is the cheaper option, but I also made a more popular 3x3 option, which is what most people are buying.
The 3x3 is
for
going crazy.
Yeah, it's selling out faster, and so we're getting to a third batch of the PC Game Port Party, and this fall I was trying to think about which like luminaries in the DOS PC world to contact, so that they would showcase it. I was really like ready to offer them a sample at my own expense, and I was thinking about like 3 names like LGR. Or Adrian Black from Adrian's Digital Basement, but mostly Phil's Computer Lab, which I think is the only one who answered. And I think in retrospect, he's like a very good ambassador for this, because this channel is all about MS-DOS gaming, including the Windows era, and he refused my sample. He just ordered a board himself and the components, and he soldered it, because apparently he's really into electronics and soldering, just like we have been for a few years. And he's showcased it on his channel, and it's made the second batch sell out on Joe's Computer Museum store.
It sold
like
out in
very
a
recently.
week.
Yeah,
A week, it was gone. Yes.
like it took 6 to 8 months usually, but it sold out that week. So that was really good, and I think there's a good demand, and I'm really glad I was able to like create a little success about PCs on your store, Joe, and
Thank you.
survive the crucible of the Vogans, the Vogans forum. They were very positive about it, especially
Good.
like there was like a lot of documentation, and now there's a video from a prominent YouTuber now, so it's all good.
Yes. Well, it couldn't happen without you. And this is what happens with a lot of situations, is that, you run into a problem, you run into an issue or something. You're like, this needs a fix. The world needs a correction for this flaw. And that's what you did. You're like, I want this to work this way. And you made it happen. And other people saw, hey, that's awesome. Let's do it. So I really do appreciate you having that vision to be like, let's make game controllers work correct, make go. I also want to add that the 3D MIDI selector, it doesn't show it on the website again because Joe is slow and old and dumb. But 3D MIDI selector also comes with a really cool 3D printed case designed by our friend Gutbomb. So super awesome. We don't have a case for the 2x2 yet, but we sell like 2 of those a year. So we'll see at some point about doing that. So yeah. Any plans for anything new, sir?
Yeah, well, actually, I could tackle this in 2026, not right now in the short term. And I was wondering if there's a demand for it, though, because one of the other things I'm passionate about is like creating Macintosh vintage software, all from scratch in C. And I am really into MIDI. I spent like more than a year like learning the ins and outs of MIDI on a lot of platforms, not just Macintosh, but I started out on the Mac. And for the Mac, you kind of need these kinds of interfaces, which have a serial connection that goes to the modem or printer port. And then you have those old DIN5 cables that are used with the old style of MIDI, still used today. And like there's a ton of them on eBay. It's pretty easy to find used, but it's still like not immediately easy. Like you have to pay the eBay fees for shipping, and I could see it as a kind of doodad. You get extra for your order that you're already paying on Joe's Computer Museum store. So it could be like nicely added to other stuff, but you don't really go out your way just because it's a new item, or like it's really available. It's really spread out. And Drake from Canada, our friend Drake, was working on such a unit last year, and he sent me a test unit. I put it up together, but there was some issues. He was trying to build it too small, and he kind of gave up, but he's willing to pass the torch to me if I was willing. So maybe I'll take him up on his offer, and maybe something will happen. It would be the first time I would work on a PCB with Signal, but it would be a nice challenge and very interesting to do.
Awesome sauce. That sounds super duper fun. I look forward to making it happen for you. In addition, just to note, yes, we know that PC Game Port Party is out of stock. Yes, we are saddened by this, but yes, we are also actively solving this problem. So we will get those back in stock for everybody. I believe I also redid inventory and found 2 that I was holding for warranties that now that we're low on stock, I didn't need to do that. So I re-added those 2 back to stock. So, but I think we might be out of stock again. I think those sold right back out. But yeah, so we will have more of those in stock soon. I think we're looking to get another batch of 20 should suffice in the short term. So cool beans. Thank you very much, sir. We look forward to more awesome sauce in the future. Now let's talk to Amber, our wonderful center square, who has designed all of the coolest 3D printables that you could ever possibly imagine. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, Joe. I'm doing all right. I was just going to say, hello, it's me. I'm Joe's least favorite because none of my stuff sells.
Stop. Well, let's solve that problem right now.
Well,
what you doing?
Yeah, right. So like 3 years ago now, I designed basically a test bench for when you're working on random PCs. It was another one of these. It's another one of these. You have a problem and you need to solve it kind of things, right? Like I had maybe a dozen motherboards of classic PCs, and I wanted to mount it into something, plug in a power supply, plug in some video cards, show it off on my YouTube channel, and I decided instead of buying like a giant metal clunky test bench off of Amazon or AliExpress for 3 digits, why not design my own and 3D print it? And that's what I did. Since that 3 years ago, I've gone through a couple of revisions, and I believe Joe has my 2 newest revisions on the store. One, probably the classic, is the full-size test bench. And if you're looking at this and you're saying, "What the heck is this, Amber? This looks like a giant piece of Lego." That is basically what it is. This will hold a power supply, standard ATX size power supply, and then there are several versions of this. In this case, this one will hold an ATX style motherboard, either mini ATX, micro ATX, full ATX on this side, and the power supply mounts in here with the fan pulling air in through the motherboard, so it cools the backside of the motherboard in case you put anything like high performance in this. One of its party tricks is that you can run it vertically, with the motherboard sticking out the top, or you can flip it on its side if you need access to your card slots. But the main problem with this one, as cool as this looks, I mean, this looks pretty cool. And like I've got like mounting holes in the bottom here. You can screw these to the underside of a desk and just have an entire computer system under there. It does actually work. As cool as this is, it takes a lot of time to print, and if you buy it from Joe's Computer Museum, it costs you a fair amount of money because this is a lot to print. So I made a smaller one that I called the micro version. That's this. That's how little I got it down to. I decided I wanted to see. Huh?
I said it's itty bitty.
It is itty bitty. I'm like, what if I use the power supply the same way that motorcycle manufacturers use the engine in a motorcycle? Make it a stressed member of the test bench. And in this case, your power supply mounts onto these here, and then it becomes the supporting piece of the entire rest of the test bench. This particular one, you might recognize the mounting hole pattern. Ignore the waviness. This is my home 3D printer, which is a pile of garbage. Joe has very nice 3D printers. He prints very beautiful looking versions of this. But this you might recognize this mounting hole pattern. This is for Baby AT. Yeah, which is not exactly an easy format to get cases for, let alone test benches. But this is, from all the people I've talked to, this is the one that everybody wants, is the Baby AT version of this test bench. So you can get, your 286, your 386 motherboard, your XT clone boards, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Throw them in here. Throw in a normal power supply. Get an ATX to AT power converter, and Bob's your uncle. You have an uncle named Bob, right? Everybody has an uncle named Bob.
Sure.
Anyway, this is here so that if you run this vertically, you have support for your first card slot in Baby AT. This, of course, changes position depending on whether you're doing AT or ATX. But I'll show you what it looks like in use, because I've got. It's not Baby AT.
She's got the pre-baked version. Got it.
It is
right out of the oven.
Right? The magic of television. I have another one. This is a system I'm going to be doing a video on soon, I hope, if I can get through my video making slump. This is basically my next computer, but in test bench form. So this is not vintage at all. In fact, this is a Ryzen motherboard. This is an AM4 motherboard. I've got a Ryzen CPU in here. I've got a pretty standard 500 watt power supply under here, and you can see how the power supply, there's no fan hole here. This is not a classic 80 millimeter push pull fan power supply. It's pulling its air in through the gaps here between the power supply and the motherboard, keeping the motherboard cool. But that's how this ends up lining up, and that gives you can see you've got the little support here for a graphics card. You just plug your graphics card right in there, and again, that guy Bob is your uncle. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, and these are great, and they're so tiny. The compact version you can just buy or print, half a dozen of them, leave them on a shelf somewhere. They take up almost no space. You need to go, put a machine together. You just take your power supply, slap the 3D print on top, put your motherboard in. It just mounts with normal motherboard mounting screws. Yeah, and you're all set. Comes with a convenient carry handle for the completed machine. Yeah,
that is awesome.
Yeah,
coolest thing ever.
Joe, you got to tell me. I forget. Yeah. I forget. This is, sorry to be unscripted, but did I ever send over my GPU stands for you to sell?
Oh, I believe that you did.
Yeah.
Maybe the GPU.
Maybe?
No, maybe not the GPU stands, but
there
are several other. Yeah, we can do that. There are several other bits and pieces that you can get along with your test bench, the card-to-card spacers and expansion card spacers and drive stands and all of those other cool things too to complete your collection. Collect them like Pokemon. Get more than one.
Exactly.
But yeah, we can definitely put those stands on there.
So maybe there's the new stuff coming in 2026. Anyway, why are there add-ons to the test bench? Well, that's because they are there are pluggable rails on these things. You've got an accessory rail on the back where you can put fans. I've got an accessory that lets you mount a 120 millimeter AIO. It's got a built-in like print in place hinge. I think it's pretty cool. I thought it was a neat idea. I've got some. If you decide to use one of these as say a server, that's been a popular use of these. I've got a drive cage that actually fits underneath here between the height of the motherboard and the desk that you put it on. But yeah, Joe's got all those accessories also available for sale in the shop at very
Absolutely.
reasonable prices, I might add.
Yes. When you compare
Real cheap.
Amber's prices on these things to the professional test, quote unquote, professional test benches, way more cost effective.
Oh yeah,
way more cost effective. So
we're well below other test bench prices. We're way under if you try and because I have these models available on my printables. You could go to like Shapeways and say, hey, print this for me, and Shapeways going to say, sure. How about $300 to print this because it's enormous? At which point you're like, well, I guess I'll just buy the big metal test bench. No, buy it from Joe because Joe doesn't charge you $300. Do you, Joe?
It's 1/10.
Exactly.
Yes. Absolutely. And the cool thing is when you buy them from me, they'll get printed in whatever random color happens to be in the printer at the time. So you get a special sample. It might be purple, it might be red, it might be green, it might be Macintosh beige. You never know. It's whatever filament that's in the machine. If you ask really nicely, and I happen to have the color, I will print it in custom colors for you. Frank is like, I want one in special color.
No. I was going to say, so Amber, when she was giving her explanation of the test benches, said she started these about 3 years ago. So 3 years ago, Amber did a giveaway for her very first test benches, and she sent me one as part of that free giveaways. So I've had this thing almost 3 years now, and it works fantastic. And I also have all of the spacers and stuff that she had made at that time. And of course, there's new ones since then, and a lot of additions. Yep, there you go. So these things last. I mean, as long as you're nice to them and you talk nice to them and touch them nicely, they don't break very easy. You know, what I'm saying is, for some 3D prints, they break really easy. But these are the way that they're made, and I'm sure she's changed the design even since then. But this thing's lasted well over 3 years. Well, almost 3 years at this point. And it works great and looks great. So highly recommended.
Right. And part of that strength is not just the design, it's the specifications that Amber gave me for printing them to ensure they have the proper amount of layer height and infill so that those layers stick together. I must say I have only ever broken one, and it's because I was in a hurry and wanted it yesterday. And so I printed it in all the fast settings and happened to lift it by its handle, and the handle broke. But you're not supposed to print it on 0.28 with a 10% infill. That's not what you're supposed to do. So I don't print the ones that I send out like that. They're on a good like 0.16 layer with a 25% infill, so that they're tougher. So so super cool things. So we look forward to seeing those, seeing your card stands as well. Do you have one of those to show off real quick?
I do actually. I had to print one actually for a card that I picked up recently. This is one of the world's worst graphics cards. This is the Radeon RX 6300. It's an OEM card from HP. I think this one's a Dell version. 2 gigs of VRAM. This was produced in 2023 for some reason. Yeah, you can see by the contact on the edge connector. Not a lot of PCI Express lanes. This is a pretty awful card. That's also hopefully going to be showing up on the channel soon for some memes. But this is the final revision of the GPU stand, and it's I made it a little bit ornate. It looks like it'd be tough to print, but it prints with no supports.
No kidding.
Prints with no supports. This is designed. I've got basically a universal version that works with PCI, AGP, and PCI Express cards. And then I've got a flipped version of this that's like it's mirrored horizontally to work with ISA cards, since they are mirrored horizontally. And the way that this works, I think it's pretty slick. When you look down to this, look down the tube, you can see there's a little block in there. And that is to keep this connector from popping off all of your bypass capacitors that are on your card. Yeah. So you can just jam that right in there. You won't break your card, guaranteed. and it holds it. So that hangs onto the card.
Yep.
That's pretty
Amber,
cool.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Will this work with my extensive collection of microchannel token ring cards? Because I have been looking for a way to display these in a tasteful manner. Right now, it's very gauche, is what all my computer friends that come over say.
Ron, if you want to send me one of those microchannel token ring cards, I can model one of these that'll work with it, because
I will run.
I don't own them
computer
because normal people don't own those.
I will run by a computer reset later today and pick them up. I did want to say though, I have one of the original design. I use this for all of my 486 stuff, because this is just it's perfect for all of that. And granted, you don't have 486 that have like the big long backplane, but you've got like some of them, it's like, oh, it's got a AT style, or oh, it's got an AT and a PS2 style, or it's dual PS2s or whatever. So this has worked out so well over the years, just for like very quickly throwing something in there and troubleshooting. And I was concerned. I've always been ginger with it, just because I try to take care of things. But I was really concerned that I was like, okay, I've got like 5 or 6 screws, of like torquing things down. But it's like, no, it's still living strong here all these years later. So thank you.
Yeah, they are surprisingly robust. If you just screw straight into the plastic, a lot of people are like, they're always worried about, how long is it going to last, right? Like how many? I've got like 3 swaps in this test bench, right? Until it strips out all the screw holes. If you are worried about that, if you're one of those people who worries about how many motherboards you can put into a single plastic test bench, Joe does have a version that uses heat set inserts. Yeah, so you can screw your motherboard into brass instead of plastic.
Yep.
So there you go.
I do. And I love making them, because every time I put in those heat sets, my entire shop smells like malted milk. It's delicious. Cool beans. That is super awesome, Amber. Thank you very much for putting those up for people to get one of those. Not everybody has a 3D printer or wants to go through the wonderful, how can we say, it's like trying to make an old car work process of having a 3D printer.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and
we do that painfully, you don't have to.
If you got like that free 3D printer from your buddy, and it's like some old Ender 3 or something, and you drop this into your slicer's going to basically say you're crazy and give you a print time of like 3 days or something for something this big. Just order it from Joe. That's like shipping time, right?
Joe make go. Joe happen make go more.
Exactly. Joe has fast printers.
Yes. I can print them out in about 3.5 hours. Insane. It's crazy. Yes. Cool. So I want to take a moment to again thank you, Amber, for having those awesome things out there for the community. And let's move on to some of our wonderful friends who could not be here tonight for reasons. First off, we already talked about Gutbomb, but also let's talk about Ian Scott. Polpo. Mr. Polpo. So if you don't know who this guy is, he's in the chat right now. He invented this little card called Pico Gus. Those are super strong. I have lots of stock on those. Basically, the Pico Gus is I like to think of it as the universal Swiss Army knife of sound for vintage computers. It emulates the Gravis Ultrasound, which of course is the $700 unobtainium card that you can't get, or you can just get one for me for $52. As far as the Pico Gus goes, but it also does Tandy 3 sound and MPU 401 and Sound Blaster support. It has a MIDI/joystick adapter, and it will also do serial mouse emulation. So if you put a little on-the-go adapter in the no, it's got a regular USB port. I'm getting ahead of myself. It has a regular USB port, so you just plug it in and set the settings, and it will take your USB. CD-ROM emulation. Yeah, he just added that. That's right. You can plug in a mouse in there, and it like makes the computer think it's a serial mouse. And then, of course, the CD-ROM emulation. So you can give it CDs, and it will play music and do all of that stuff. Super
And-
awesome.
And also
Joystick.
Game Blaster, like the Creative Music System,
Yes,
and AdLib,
yes,
the
yes,
original
yes.
AdLib as well, just to
Mhm.
put it out there. And
Yes.
gamepads, modern USB gamepads.
Yes.
MPU 401 emulation.
Yes.
Yeah, you said it.
Well, and not just MPU 401 emulation, but what's the mode? The
UART.
no,
Intelligent
it's
mode.
intelligent mode. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
intelligent
That
intelligent
way
mode
for
is
the MT32.
MPU.
Yeah. Mhm.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yes. So many modes that I don't have them all memorized because I never had the opportunity to play with those when I was a kid. So thank you, Ian, for giving me the opportunity to play with those as a kid and plug it into that machine I showed over there earlier, which is my $486. Ignore the fact that it's full of garbage cards right now. That's a completely other unrelated situation. Of course, Ian also designed the clone of the Image Scribbler, which will be a big thing come this March and Tosh.
Mhm.
So you've got your
Here's now.
image writer, and you want to be able to connect it to a local talk network, but you don't have a local talk card. Well, now you do. You can just get this thing and shove it in your printer and get it on local talk and then global talk, and have people over the internet print naughty pictures to your image writer. It's
That doesn't happen, Joe.
that has never happened last year. What are you talking about? So yeah, this is super cool. You can also build one yourself. You can get just the bare board from me, so you don't have to. For $7, you can get the bare board, so you don't have to spend like $50 getting a huge set of boards from a manufacturer. Then you can buy all your individual components and build one yourself as well. And he's got the GitHub link and all of that there on the site, so you can get to that. So super awesome. The last thing I wanted to talk about, Ian, besides him being, like one of the best vendors to work with, is that he's coming out with this cool little thing called Pico IDE. You probably heard about it. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. And there, Eric's got a test version, an early version out there. But the Pico IDE is basically going to be the universal IDE emulator for PCs. So it's going to be emulating IDE hard drives, IDE optical drives, and also is going to, Ron's just whispered something, I don't know what it was.
I said optical drives.
Optical drives, yeah, yes, optical drives, with sound support as well. And it's going to use that wonderful universal interface board that Eric is showing off there, so you can control it from the front panel of your machine. So it is going to be super awesome. Those are getting really close to being ready. He's kind of in that last home stretch of it's feature complete, but it's like tweak this, make this slightly more compatible, test this with this weird edge case, and all of these little things, because he wants to be 100% certain that it is close to perfect as possible. It's not going to be perfect. Nothing ever is. And, perfect is what prevents you from ever shipping a product, and he knows that. But he wants all of the big heavy things that might cause any user any issues to be resolved before he does that. He is working with Crowd Supply to do the first run of those. And then after that, wonderful folks like me and other vendors around the world will have those available as well. I want to do a quick shout out as well to Gutbaum, again, the 3D design wizard who designed the the 5.25 bay or 3.5 bay case right there. That's going to be distributed with the Pico IDE. Those are going to be injection molded, so it's not going to be 3D printed. We're going to have a big robots make hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of those. So yeah, if you want to sign up to know when the Pico IDE is going to be available on Crowd Supply, you can go ahead and go to that link there, and get a first run from there. And then after the fact, after that first run, we're going to have those. So going to be super awesome. I'm going to have as many as I can possibly afford to have in stock at one time, so that stock is constantly available, because they're going to be everybody's going to want one. Everybody's going to want one to make their own computer.
I want to stress like how important something like this is.
Yes.
I have yet to buy an optical drive in the last few years that has not needed some kind of maintenance. So we're reaching a point where, unless you want to take those and it is just a rat's nest of stuff, you want to take those apart and do a restore on it, you are kind of you're playing against time on a lot of those things. But the thing that's really, really great is I want to be able to set up a machine and archive it and put it somewhere, so that way that I'm not just like, oh, I gotta sacrifice a whole compact flash card to whatever this is. I want to be able to just be like, here's an image that's got everything all tweaked out. I can send it to a friend that they can just put it on their thing and boot up and have that same kind of experience. And that has been something that's been sorely lacking in that space for a long time. So thank you, Ian, and thank you for everybody that made contributions to the project to try to get this off the ground. Because for years I've been like, wouldn't it be great if we had like something like this? And it was that everybody finally kind of took the initiative and ran with it. So as somebody that has just been wishing for something like this for a long time, thank you so much.
Right people in the right community at the right time were like, I could do this part. Well, I know about that part. I know this part. And then it happened. And like 2 months later, it's like, hey, by the way, thing done. Yeah. It's been super awesome.
It was kind of cool because I got to be like Ben, what's the Goodwill Hunting, where it's Ben and the other guy. I got to be like Ben and just sit on the couch and smoke pot all day while other people did fun things. And then at the end, I was like, hey, all right, Academy Award. Super.
Sure. But yeah, that's going to be back on track, away from the pot jokes. That's going to be back. That's going to be out soon. So I look forward to doing that. I mean, the solutions, aside from the optical drive, on the hard drive side, it's like Ron was saying, it's always compact flash. That's your solid state version, or those disk on module things. But the problem with all of those is they're geared to UDMA. They don't support funky PIO modes. They have issues with like CHS addressing. They're because they're all LBA based, and I know of several even clients, like in my day job, I have clients that have these old machines and they have to keep them running, or it's like a $200,000 machine replacement. And even in this situation, that would be great because it's image based. You take the image off, you save it somewhere, and you have a machine that it'll do like an old mode 13 hard drive, weird CHS setup. It does these things. So super duper awesome. Yeah.
I was wondering if anyone knew. I didn't follow the project like a hawk in these last months, but I would imagine that it supports the .bin.q pair of files.
It does.
For CD-ROM, because that's been a holy grail that's been missing for years, and people were clamoring for it. And you could mount .iso, which is just a single block of data, but the .q and .bin was the missing element, because you can have multi-track CDs, and you can emulate a lot of softwares from the 90s, which was really lacking in DOS. Right. So.
And one other cool feature is he implemented a BlueSCSI toolbox-like feature for interacting, so you can run some commands in your DOS prompt and switch CDs or take control of your Pico IDE as well. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yes. It is going to be the best thing since sliced bread. And like Betty White said, I was there and I can confirm it. So, thank you, Ian, for making these awesome things. And I look forward to Pico IDE. Let's run through some of the other folks who couldn't be here. Rudy with Rudy's Retro Intel. Rudy is super duper awesome. He's got a couple of products on my website. And let me show you. The one, of course, is Tiny Comp. It is a universal RF to composite mod. If you know how to tap into the RF output of your computer, you can use this to create composite output of your old 8-bit computer. Basically, it uses this transistor kind of in its linear region to band filter the high frequency RF component, and then it only sends out the lower frequency composite component. And then he's got the Mac SE30 Peaker diagnostic kit. I still have a few of these left, 6 of them left, and these are really cool. You can plug this kit onto your SE30, and then it breaks out all of the signals. You can see all of the bus signals, the voltages, powers and grounds, address data, all of that stuff. So if you've got an old machine and you're like, well, what's going on? You can actually tap into all these signals and see if they're working. So if you're working on a lot of old Macs and you want like a really cool tool to be able to fix those, repair those, maintain those, that is super cool. So thank you, Rudy, for having that on there. Rudy's also working on a couple other things that we may be talking about. But again, I'm just going to hint that and be like, Rudy's got things in the pipeline, and I don't want to give too many spoilers out. I have several other vendors that I work with kind of on a spot by spot basis. First one is Mr. Tech Gadget. Mr. Tech Gadget designed the cool little thing called the A2C DVI. That guy, let me pull that up. Let me see if I can find it. Where is it? Here it is. So yeah, the A2C DVI is this cool little box that you plug into the back of your Apple II. And it gives you TDMS video output, which is basically it's a DVI signal, but it's in an HDMI compatible connector. So you can plug it into an HDMI compatible monitor, and most of those monitors will just show it. So you don't have to rely on having a composite television anymore, an old tube TV or anything like that. You can get a relatively modern monitor and plug that into your Apple II and continue to use it. You're not worrying about tubes and capacitors and all that stuff. Or, you can plug it in you can just like plug it into your computer or into your what's the thing? Entertainment center, the full whiz bang if you want. And like you said, Mike Neal just added a little change in the firmware that added Laser 128 support. So you can plug it into Laser 128 and get video out. Super duper awesome. It's got the little selection button here, so you can turn on its on-screen menu and go through all the different settings and features it has. It has scan line modes and monochrome color modes and all of that cool stuff. So it is super duper awesome. The next folks, or the next person I want to mention is Raleigh Palev. He does the A2 DVI for me. So, and the A2 Pico. So we'll start with the A2 DVI. It's everything I just said about the Apple IIc, except it's for the Apple II. Does literally the exact same thing. But basically, you plug it in any open slot. It gives you HDMI compatible DVI signals out, and then you get beautiful perfect video on your Apple II there. And then Raleigh also has designed the A2 Pico in combination with Oliver Schmidt. Now, the A2 Pico. Here's the big thing about the A2 Pico. The A2 Pico, I like to call this the Swiss Army knife of your Apple II computer because it has all of these different firmware options. The card itself is basically just a carrier to connect the Apple II to the Raspberry Pi so that the Pi can do things to the Apple II. That's all it does. And the firmware is where the magic happens. So you can do the A2 RetroNet firmware, which is mass storage capability with up to 8 ProDOS drives. Soft SP, so you can emulate SmartPort. So you can use the Soft SP firmware in conjunction with your FujiNet and get an old Apple II Plus on FujiNet. Cool stuff. Apple II I/O RPI, which gives you some development platform capabilities. Z80 capabilities, the Super Serial Card version, which basically allows you to communicate with a modern PC as if this was a Super Serial Card. So you can connect your modern PC to your Apple II with a terminal emulator. And then finally, what just came out was mouse simulation. So now you can plug in a USB mouse to your Apple II and do the thing. And like Gutbomb said, yes, you can put an A2 Pico in every single slot and have literally every feature that you would ever need for an Apple II. Smart port and discs and Z80 and all of that. So super duper awesome. Finally, absolutely finally, 100% finally, would be this guy called Joe of Joe's Computer Museum, who has a few flagship products on his site. The number one, my very first product ever, I always got to bring out one. This is the one, this is nearest, dearest to my heart. The Universal Keyboard Encoder. This will make any Apple II, I should say any Apple II Plus, Apple IIe, Apple IIc, or Apple III's keyboard work again. It saves keyboards. So the keyboard encoders in all of those machines are notoriously static sensitive, and if you go near them wrong, or you, I don't know, look at them with side eye from across the room, the keyboard encoders break. Especially on the Apple III, where the keyboard encoder is a specialized version of the encoder made just for Apple. So if your encoder goes bad, you're either yanking an encoder from a working Apple to make another non-working Apple work, which is weird, or you're going on eBay, ordering an encoder or just another Apple II or something to try to steal the parts to make this thing work, and then you're paying too much money and all of that. Or instead, you can go to your friend Joe's website and get the Universal Keyboard Encoder and fix every Apple II ever, and just make them work. Of course, this has been one of my passion projects because the Apple II is absolutely not only my favorite computer, but the best computer on planet Earth. Apple II forever. So this helps them stay forever. I also have a version that works for the older Apple IIs. So if you've got an original Apple II or some early Apple II Pluses with what's called the Datanetics style keyboard, they have this different keyboard encoder. Well, guess what? I designed a replacement for that too, because these won't just fail when you give them side eye from across the room. These will fail randomly 5 states away if you think that they exist. I just broke several now by bringing up this picture. Spoiler alert, this is how I make millions of dollars, is by mentioning it over and over. No, I'm kidding. But replacement encoder for that. The universal RGB adapter is really cool. So say you've got an Apple III and you want color video out of it, but you don't want one of those weird, funky Video 7 or really expensive digital RGB monitors for the Apple III that are impossible to find and are always broken and never work correct. You can get this universal RGB adapter, which allows you to plug it into an Apple II GS monitor and converts it to analog. You can even plug it into a CGA monitor and get digital video. And I've done my best to color match CGA's color palette to that. It's not perfect, but it's pretty close. It's not shown here because of reasons. It also has this port right here, which is the color NTSC video. So it allows you to get actual color television video out of an Apple III. So any way you slice it, this thing gets you your high quality color. Well, unless it's NTSC, but it allows you to get, your super duper cool video out of your Apple III. And then all of the replacement parts for the Apple III, colorizer, phase 3, power supply kits, every ROM in the Apple III, I've got a replacement for all those bipolar ROMs that you require like $1,000 pieces of hardware using old parts that aren't made anymore to try to get work, or you just get one of these and replace the chips and you're done. And lots of other stuff too, stuff for the Franklin Ace, key stems, the Y cable, So if you've got one of those Apple IIe cards in your LC or your Color Classic and you don't have the Y cable because no one has the Y cable. Well, I got the Y cable, except it's this little adapter boardy thing that just plugs into the back of the machine. You just got screws and you just screw it into the back of the machine and you've got your adapter doodle. So that is super cool. And yeah, those are the thingadoodles that Joe has designed as he speaks about himself in the third person. Final things from Joe Land. I do have other designs in the works that you want to pay attention to social media, pay attention to jcm-1.com, find me on live streams that I'm on that are coming up soon. Many of these are Apple II related, again, because the Apple II is very near and dear my heart. I've got a project coming up for the Apple III soon, a couple of Mac projects, and things like that. Of course, we're trying to expand the support for IBM PC in the store too, with the Pico IDE, with Michael's stuff. So I'm always looking for new things that are going to help these old computers stay working, and so that my store can be the one place you go to get all of those things. So the best example I can show of what I'm trying to make JCM be for everyone is what Ron has really done with his designs. When you look at Ron's stuff, he's got things that complement each other. For example, let's say you get an SE combo and then the Pico PSU and then the J12 cable, and combine all of those together with, like a remote battery. And then you go over here and go to Gutbaum's side and you get a Cat Mac Mini, right? These things are designed to go together so you can go to one place and get all the little bits and pieces to keep your old computer working. On the Apple II side, that's the same idea of why I wanted to do the A2 Pico, because the A2 Pico, instead of me having 5 different solutions from 5 different vendors, I've got one card that just does all the thingadoodles, right? It does everything but video. And then wait, we can do video too, right? This is what I'm aiming to do for folks for their vintage computers. So in 2026, it's going to be more than just the Apple II and the Mac. We're going to be expanding into the PC. The PowerPig is going to help us have options out there for more options for Coco, the FujiNet for Coco, more Amiga stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This is the whole plan. You go to one place, you get all the little bits and pieces you need to keep your vintage computer working all in one shop. You're not spending shipping for multiple places and trying to wait for multiple days for multiple orders and blah 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 blah. I want that one solution to help everybody's computers work. So Ian just said it. One day I want to add Mockingboard support to the A2 Pico. Yes, let's do it. We're going to have to do a hardware spin on that, because then we have to figure out how to get audio out of the A2 Pico, because it doesn't have portadoodles for that, but we'll figure that out. But yeah, MMU Man, another guy. He's known as Francois. You probably know him from other streams that he's been on. He's in the chat right now. He's got a couple really cool designs he's working on that we might be able to put in the store too, as a complement to the remote battery that Ron does for machines that require more juice than just the regular 3.5 or 3 volt battery. Some of the Macs need like a 4.5 volt battery, and the remote battery sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. And his solution holds those bigger battery boxes, those Maxell battery boxes, and it allows you to mount that battery box way the heck over there. So if it explodes, it's going to blow up the battery box and not your machine. So lots of cool stuff like that happening. So that's what my hopes and plans are for 2026. Now, final thoughts. So it is 2025. It is the holiday season. People expect deals during the holiday season. And we're doing that on jcm-1.com this year. So for all of you who've hung out for the past hour and 40 minutes listening to us ramble on about all these cool products, I want to let you know that there is a coupon code that you can use on my website. This coupon code is valid until through the end of the day on December 24th. This coupon code is called Holiday 2025. Ron, do you want to put that in the thingy there for me? This coupon code gives you 10% off anything in the store, even things that are on sale. So I've got the big thing right now that is the huge steal is the what's it called? I have extras of an earlier version of the Blue SCSI V2 DB25 external. We've updated to start moving towards the Pico 2 chip. We're standardizing on that, but I've got a lot of the Pico with the Pico 1 chip on it. Not that they're slower. The DB25 has limitations that prevent the Pico 2 from doing much with it anyway, but I want the older Pico 1s to be gone so that I only have one set of product in the store. Those are on sale for $35 and then 10% off that. So if you want like the cheapest Blue SCSI that's actually assembled that you could possibly get, use that code, get one of those, and yeah. But literally everything, shirts, hats, cards, adapters, plugs, cables, all of it. You know,
Shower curtains.
Shower curtains, yes. Yes. Because everybody's got to know that you know what you got. And what was the last thing I was going to say? The final thing I wanted to add is that there is a shipping deadline in the United States that's generally recognized to be around December 17th, which is kind of the last day that you can get stuff into the United States Postal Service system and be able to get it by December 25th. The way my shipping schedule is, I ship everything on Mondays. And the last Monday that's available for things to go out from the store is December 12th. So if you want to make sure that you have something that you're wanting to get in before December 25th that you want as a gift for someone or that you're sending to someone as a gift, something like that, make sure that you get your order in by end of day on December 12th. December 12th is actually a Friday. I take that back. But that's the last end of shipping cycle that I have before the 17th. So that's end of day on Friday this week. So 11:59:59. I run in Eastern time, so adjust your Eastern US time. So adjust your local clock accordingly. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I want to take one last moment to thank all of the people here, all of the people who were here, Sloopy and Amber, who were here earlier. I want to thank Ian and Gut Bomb. I want to thank all of the people who have been working so hard in the background, like Androda, lots of Cass, lots of other people in our circle that have helped encourage me, give me little tidbits of stuff. Because without you guys, I couldn't do this. Like, I'm just some dude in the Midwest who like clicks buttons on a website and make website go burr. But you guys make all of the cool things and have all of the cool ideas that help that stuff gel together to have these awesome solutions out there for our community. And I want to thank every single one of you from the bottom of my heart. So thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Anyway. Cool. So I think we're going to wrap that up for tonight. Again, remember the coupon code, remember December 12th, buy early, buy often, yada, yada, yada. Website is, if it's not obvious from here and from there, it's jcm-1.com. Anybody else want to have anything to add before we close out the stream for this evening?
I just want to thank you, Joe, for putting a lot of this stuff together and making a fun place for us to kind of work together and collaborate and make fun things for people.
That's what I want to be. I want to be the one place where all my friends can come together. I want to be the Cheers of the internet, where we can all hang out and get drunk together. Wait, that's not what I wanted to say. You know what I meant. But anyway, yeah. So, all right. Well, that's it. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by. And I hope you all had a great 2025 and you have an awesome 2026. See you all later. Bye.
Bye.
Is it going to do it?